Greetings, television lovers. Filmholmes here, and welcome to the first ever episode, not counting the television collection videos, but go back and watch them if you haven't to see what I have in my collection. But this is technically the first ever episode of Too Much TV with, of course, me, Filmholmes. Now, I wasn't planning on watching any television shows, especially ones I had watched before, but while going through my collection, I had a hankering to watch a certain sitcom that I hadn't seen in a while that is actually one of my favorite sitcoms that I've ever seen. And I don't feel it gets the appreciation it deserves. And that television show is Spin City. Now, a lot of you may be going, what the fuck is Spin City? Now, if you know Bill Lawrence, he created one of my all-time favorite sitcoms, Scrubs. And Scrubs I don't think gets the appreciation it deserves, but it wasn't a huge hit, but it's become a huge cult hit. Spin City was actually the show Bill Lawrence did with Gary David Goldberg, if I'm getting that name right, who also created Family Ties back in the 80s, which is considered one of the greatest 80s shows of all time, starring Michael J. Fox. And him and Bill Lawrence decided in the 90s to create a new show for Michael J. Fox, and that was, of course, Spin City. It takes place in New York City, and it basically stars Michael J. Fox as Michael Flaherty, the deputy mayor of New York City, and basically it's about his life in the office, in the mayor's office, and his interactions with the mayor and the people in his office, the speechwriter, the press secretary, really pretty accountant, his assistant, Carter, who is a gay man on staff. He comes in the first episode. I can't remember what his job is. I'm sorry. His job's not to be gay, but he's there. And then Stuart Bondeck, he's kind of the male chauvinist pig. He is the guy the best friend from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He totally plays a different character. He's hilarious. Can't remember what his job is either, but the entire cast, it was so deliciously perfectly cast. This is an ensemble show. It's what most, if you're trying to make a comedic ensemble show, look at Spin City and how they cast it, because it is a comedic marvel how they cast this show. It was perfect. Every character was perfect. Every character was hilarious. Every character was fleshed out. And even though Michael J. Fox was the star of it, he was the center. He was the nucleus. He was smart enough to realize that he could play off all these people to make himself look better, but also it would make them look better, and the show would be fantastic. And it was. And like I said earlier, I got a hankering to watch this, and just to watch a few episodes. I hadn't seen it in a couple years, and I just wanted to see a few episodes. And a few episodes, as always, turned into the entire first season. So, that's what I did. I watched the entire first season of Spin City. Mwah! And I figured, while I watched it, I might as well make a video about it and talk about it. Because, I do feel like this show does not get the appreciation it deserves. Will it go down as a groundbreaking comedy in television history? No. Will it go down as one of the all-time bests? No. But if you do a top 100, I think this would probably be in the top 50 or 60. It was very well written, well directed. The direction, I think, led to the direction in what would become the West Wing. I think the same guy did the pilot in Spin City and then went on to the West Wing in the 2000s. And you'll see if you watch it, it's the exact same thing. And it was different for a comedy. Like Scrubs. Scrubs was a lot of different shots, a lot of different scenes, quick scenes, and that's Spin City was too. And the writing was just crisp and funny, and the stories were good, and you cared about the characters, you cared about Michael J. Fox. And what I love about this show, Michael J. Fox, their big fear, they didn't want people to see Alex P. Keaton, his character from Family Ties. And you don't. You see Mike Flaherty. I don't see Michael J. Fox. It's my favorite character that Michael J. Fox has played. And yes, I know, I'm a big Back to the Future fan. I love Marty McFly. Who the hell doesn't? This is still my favorite character that Michael J. Fox has ever played. He's cocky, he's sure of himself, he's full of himself, but he's quirky, and he makes mistakes, and he's got a big heart, and he does love people, but he also has to hide it, and he likes to spin things to make people see what he wants them to see. It's why it's called Spin City, because his job is to keep the mayor safe. and to keep that administration safe, so he has to spin shit around, to keep the press at bay or to keep the papers at bay or just people in his life. And it's an idea for a show that wasn't done before and hasn't really been done since. I'd like to see another sitcom set in a mayoral office or just an office, political office. I'd like to see a political show that was a comedy. Spin City did it so well for 4 years. I don't really count seasons 5 and 6. They weren't awful, but they're not nearly as good as the first 4 seasons. Now, the pilot episode is a great pilot episode and introduces you to every character. You know Mike Flaherty, and the only thing is the sets are a little bit different, which happens in pilot episodes because they don't know if the show's going to get picked up. I think Spin City was picked up, but you shoot the pilot, and then it may be a couple months until you shoot the rest of the show. But that's the only difference. Everything else is there from the very beginning. And I love that pilot script so much. It's so funny, and I love watching it. And every time I watch it, I get hooked. I have to watch the entire season and probably watch all the seasons that I have on DVD. And it just picks up from there. The show finds its groove after a couple episodes, and the characters are there from the beginning. The actors do just a phenomenal job, and every episode is good. Every episode. There's no bad episode in the first season. I can't remember a bad episode in the first 3 seasons, but there's no episode where I was like, oh, I'm going to skip that one. No, you watch it because it's going to be damn funny. Sometimes going to be a little heartbreaking. But the first season of Spin City is a winner, and it was a ratings hit. And Michael J. Fox won 3 Golden Globes and an Emmy Award when he finally retired from the show after season 4, and well-deserved. He's so good on television. He's so good in movies, but I respect him for him to go after 6-7 years after being on a hit TV show that he won 3 Emmys for and a Golden Globe in the 80s to go back to TV after being this huge movie star. That was a big risk, and I commend him for it, but he knew that this was a special show and it was right, and it deserves to have more eyes on it. And the first season is not expensive. It's still like $10. It's season 2 and 3 are extremely expensive, and I have those, and I'll probably end up watching them. Season 4 is now non-existent. It's hundreds of dollars to get it. I wish I would have grabbed it last year when it was still $30, but I'm not big on season 4 minus the last 2 episodes, the finale. But hopefully one day they need to do a complete series, even if it includes 5 and 6, seasons 5 and 6. They need to do a complete series release because this show deserves more eyes on it. I wish it would be on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Video or any of the thousands of apps with TV shows on it, because this show is that good. It is going to make you laugh. You're not going to be able to stop watching it because it's that enjoyable. You want to live in this world and experience these characters and be in this office and see what's going to happen and the little adventures they get into and the quirky people and the quirky guest stars and everything. It's so good. It's what a sitcom is supposed to be, and I love every second of it. It's one of my favorite comedy shows, and oh god, I can't say enough about it. I'm gonna have to look at the discs. Sorry, because just to see what some of the best episodes are in the first season, I'm just gonna name them. Now, like I said, the pilot is awesome, home run. And the guest stars are really good in the first season. Woody Harrelson in one of the best episodes, it's on disc 2, called Meet Tommy Dugan, where there was a contest for some middle schoolers, or no, they were grade schoolers, to write an essay about them being mayor or something about the mayor office. Well, Tommy Dugan won. Well, Tommy Dugan was the janitor at the school. So it's so damn funny, and Woody Harrelson is great as well. And some of his, I think all but one cast member from Family Ties, yeah, they all eventually come into the show and do. His mom from Family Ties plays his mom in Spin City. That's not till season 2 though. But if you can hear, there's a siren, and that's because I am kicking so much ass on this show. The police are going to come and take me away. But you ain't going to get me, coppers, because You're just not. But that is a great episode. Now, I will say, halfway through the season, the show changed a little bit. The first 12 episodes, one of the other cast members, Carla Gugini? I can't remember her name. I think it's Carla. She played Mike Flaherty's girlfriend. She was a reporter. And the two together had great chemistry. She's a beautiful girl, great actress, and they had wonderful chemistry between the two of them. You believe they were in love, but they also kind of didn't hate each other, but just they knew like they were going to fight, because she was basically, her job was to go after the administration whenever they made mistakes, and his job was to cover up any mistakes. So that was an interesting dynamic, and it worked. Now, to this day, I don't know what happened. After the 12th episode, when they came back after Christmas break, she was gone. I heard she left the show. I also heard that they wanted to change the show and have Mike be single because there was more comedic possibilities with him being single. And they were right. If that was their call, they were right. There were much more comedic possibilities with his dating life. And that's kind of when Spin City became Spin City, because the rest of the series is about him trying to handle his personal life with his professional life, and it really, really works. But at the same time, the two of them together were great, and I kind of missed it when it was gone, because they really played off each other well, and it was a couple that I wanted to see succeed. But it is what it is, you know. But even after she leaves, you know, the show is still really good. One episode, Kiss Me Stupid, where Carter's ex-boyfriend comes to visit him and tells him basically like he's straight now, and Mike is there to try to help him, and him and Carter actually kisses him to make it look like Mike and him are together. And the roar of that crowd when they kiss, and just the uncomfortableness of the two of them, to me is one of my favorite moments in television. It makes me piss my pants laughing every single time that I watch it. Another one, Deaf Becomes Her, where Marlee Matlin, Academy Award winner Marlee Matlin, who is a famous deaf actress, she plays a deaf woman on the show. I have the biggest crush on her. She's so beautiful, even now, like at 50-some years old. But that was a great episode, and how they handle how the world has gotten so PC, even back in the mid-'90s, because this show came out in '96, and even back then, how the world was becoming too PC, where anything could be misconstrued, and there was something misconstrued about the deaf community, and I really enjoyed that. I like how the season ends with the mayor having trouble at home and everything. It just, from beginning to end, every episode is going to tickle your funny bone, and they also handle the political talk really well. They make it interesting. You kind of want them to get into the politics of things and see what they have to say about it or what they're going to do about it. It's just such a beautifully written show, and it just worked. It's like the stars aligned, and even though the show was going to be a hit for a little while because of Michael J. Fox, I think the newer show, the Michael J. Fox show, which was on a year or two ago, showed that just because it's Michael J. Fox does not mean it's going to work for very long, because that show, it was good at first, but quickly went downhill because of not great writing. They didn't have the right actors for the parts, and it died after a season, which is a shame, but it happens. Spin City, if Michael J. Fox, you know, was healthy and hadn't unfortunately gotten Parkinson's, it would have went on for probably 7-8 years, and would be remembered as one of the great sitcoms from the 90s, or maybe of all time. But unfortunately, it only lasted for 4 years with him, and then 2 years with Charlie Sheen, and they weren't bad, but the majority of the cast left, and it just wasn't the same. But those first 4 years, even though I'm not huge on season 4, it's just comedic gold. And like I said, I watched season 1 within 2 days because I couldn't help myself. It's that good of a show, and I have seasons 1, 2, and 3. I'm probably going to end up watching 2 and 3, so you'll probably get more videos like this. And I'm trying to think of more to say to get you, you know, excited for this, to watch it. I mean, the first season is cheap. It's like $10. At least, if you can afford it, get this season. It is so, so good. And there's even a good documentary on it about the making of the show. That's about 35-40 minutes long. But every episode is gold. It's hard for me to pick. You know, I kind of already named my favorite episodes. But, oh God, Dog Day Afternoon, that's a good one. Just, it reminded me of the old days of like, oh, damn it, the Mary Tyler Moore Show, where like the clown died, and that one's considered like one of the greatest television episodes of all time. This one isn't, but it's called Dog Day Afternoon, where they're trying to make amends with the police, and a police dog dies, and they lose the body of the police dog and have to try to find it, and then the funeral comes up, and you can see the comedic possibilities there, and it is that damn funny. And to me, it ends just beautifully, and it's so freaking funny. And I like how a lot of these episodes, the stories come together at the end. What was the one, what was it called? Gabby's Song, if I remember right, where Michael J. Fox's character breaks up with Justine Bateman's character, his sister from Family Ties. A little weird, but they don't kiss or anything. I'm sure they didn't want to, because they played siblings for 7 years. But she's really funny in it. She's a crazy woman. They have sex, and she hangs onto the condom and puts it in the freezer because she wants to have a baby. And the way that ends, it just ties in so well. It reminds me of like a Seinfeld episode where the stories come together at the end, the different stories. So good. But anyway, it is one of the most well-casted comedies I have ever seen in television history. And I'm not just saying that. It really is. The casting director deserved an Emmy if they didn't get one, or several Emmys, because even the guest stars were cast wonderfully. And everyone knows what to do, knows their characters, and they play them flawlessly. And I don't know how you can't fall in love with this show. It is such an easy show to fall in love with. And like I said, it's one of my all-time favorite comedies. So the first season, overall, there's not really like a big story arc or anything. There's the stuff between Mike and his ex. That's the first 12 episodes. Then the next 12, it does kind of deal with Mike dealing with, I guess I shouldn't say a spoiler, but it kind of is, I guess, but Mike dealing with being single again because they were together for a year or two, and kind of going back on the dating scene, and the funniness of that, and a lot of funny situations. Even his wife guest stars on the show for his birthday episode. I think that was season 1. That actually might have been season 2, I'm sorry. That might have been season 2. But his wife eventually, and she was great on it as well. A lot of great guest stars, and they're not distracting. They really put their all into their parts. Because how could they not with the scripts they were getting? You had to respect the script. And just a lot of good stuff with Carter and Stewart and Paul and James. I'm trying to remember the entire cast's names. Janelle. She's the only one I feel is kind of a wasted character. She never really got a lot in the 4 years, but I liked her. She was really good. And oh, man. Sorry, I'm just thinking of funny scenes. It is, and I'm trying to remember everyone's names. And the mayor is funny. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's clueless, but he knows what he's doing. He's kind of pampered and taken care of, and the jokes they make about politics are spot on, but they don't trash politics. They just kind of make fun of it a little bit. So, and again, that comes back to the writing. So if you've never seen this show, please give it a chance. The first season of Spin City, I give a rating of 4.5 out of 5, bar none. It's that good. It's not perfect, but it's as close as you can get for a television show. It is truly that good. So please, if it's not a show that people really seem to talk about, or I know a lot of people do, but it's a show that not a lot of people remember as one of the best of all time, and nobody will. But does that mean it shouldn't be remembered? It shouldn't be bought on DVD? It shouldn't be watched anymore? No. It's a lot of the stuff is a little dated, but it doesn't matter, because it's kind of fun too to look back and see things we remember from the 90s, if you were living in the 90s, like I was. So anyway, the first season is not expensive. It's like $10. Please go out and buy it. The later seasons get a lot more expensive, unfortunately, but I hope eventually it'll be on Netflix or Hulu, or they'll release a complete series or re-release the single seasons. I think they will. I think that there will be a demand for it one day. But until then, I'm happy I have the 3 seasons, and I will watch seasons 2 and 3 and talk about them a little bit more. And please just watch this show. It's Michael J. Fox, I think, at his best, even though he was struggling with Parkinson's at the time, but that didn't stop him from being one of the best comedic actors in television history. So, Spin City Season 1, awesome shit. So, I got more TV I gotta watch, and probably some movies too, so hope you enjoyed this. Go watch Spin City. Until next time, take care.